Problem 8A-3. We're going to complete a Form 941. It says, the following is the monthly payroll for the last 3 months of the year for Smith Sporting Goods Shop, and it gives you the address. So here it's showing us October's payroll information. So it looks like we've got 3 employees, Paula, Joe, and Harley, and here's their monthly paycheck. So these people are paid monthly. And it gives you their OASDI tax and the Medicare tax and the FIT, federal income tax, withholding. So we've got also November right here, and then we've got December. So what's a little bit different is that these people are going to be paid monthly. Assume the rate for Social Security tax is 6.2% with a wage-based maximum of $127,200. So that's going to be a key number to remember. And the rate for Medicare is 1.45% on all earnings. Click the icon to view additional information. So it says, the shop is a sole proprietorship owned and operated by Bill Smith. The EIN for the Smith Sporting Goods Shop is 28-9311. 893, we will need that for the Form 941. And the employees at Smith's are paid once a month, the last day of the month. And none of the other employees will reach the Social Security wage-based limit by the end of the year. So what that's talking about is this box here. So notice Paula at the end of the year, so this is December, her only paycheck in December, Paula will have been paid for the whole year $128,050, which puts her over this limit of $127,200. So our first task is going to be to figure out how much of the $4,240 is taxable for OASDI in December. And then it says Smith's is classified as a monthly depositor of Form 941 payroll tax deposit purposes. So remember, Form 941 is for FICA, FICA, FIT. FICA once for the employee, FICA once for the employer, and then FIT, federal income tax. And of course, FICA means the Social Security, OASDI, and Medicare. We're going to click on here to read the tasks. So this is what we're going to do. Compute the December OASDI tax for Paula Bush because she goes over the limit. It's a little bit challenging. And then we're going to journalize entries to record the employer's payroll tax expense for each period. And it gives you the SUTA rate and the FUTA rate. And then we're going to journalize the payment of each tax liability. And then we're going to complete Form 941 for the 4th quarter of the current year. So if you need to see the full Form 941, you can click here, and then here it is. But if you want to see the whole thing at once, you can scroll down or you could print it. So let's get on to the first task of computing the December OASDI tax for Paula Bush. And before we can figure out her tax for OASDI for December, we have to figure out how much of her paycheck is taxable. Problem 8A-3. We're going to complete the Form 941. So the first thing I've done is I have this instructor tip pop up for you that says, note, for this problem, YTD, which stands for year-to-date, year-to-date earnings equals this pay period's wages plus the wages prior to this period. So what am I talking about? We need to open up one of our windows. So this window, as it says, has the employee payroll info for October, November, and December. So here's October, here's November, here's December. So let's look at this YTD earnings. So what this note is saying is that this YTD earnings, for example, for Paula Bush, includes this pay period's wages, which is $30.60, plus the wages prior to this period, which is up here. So let's just do the math. $120,750. To do the math, we need a calculator. 120,750 plus this month's wages should equal year-to-date earnings. 3060 gives us 123,810. So these two numbers match. So again, remember, YTD earnings means the previous earnings from previous pay periods, which is up here, plus this pay period's earnings equals this amount. All right. So our first task is to compute the December OASDI. Remember, OASDI stands for Social Security. Compute the December OASDI tax for Paula Bush. Well, that's easy, right? So first of all, we're going to start with the formula. It says select the formula and enter the amounts needed to compute the December OASDI tax for Paula Bush. So the formula in words is you take the taxable OASDI wages. Remember, for Social Security, not everything is taxable. It has a wage base, in other words, a maximum, times the OASDI tax rate, which is 6.2%. And if you forget that, up here it reminds you. Social Security is 6.2% with a wage base maximum of 127,200. So that's key. We need to remember the 127,200. So again, we're calculating the December OASDI tax for Paula, which is probably the most complicated thing in this problem. So let's go back here. So let's scroll down to December. So here's December. So we have to calculate, or we have to figure out or calculate how much of this 4240 is taxable for Paula. Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to look to see if she was over the limit, to see if she is over the limit. So we look here, 128,050 is above the wage base maximum of 127,200. So in this pay period, we know she is over. So we should double check the previous pay period to see if she was over in that pay period too, because if she was over in the previous pay period, then nothing is taxable. So we look back here, back in November, she was under the wage base. So now we have to calculate how much of this pay period's wages for Paula is over. And why are we only worried about Paula? Well, look at everyone else's. They are nowhere near the 127,200 wage base. So for these two people, Joe and Harley, all of their monthly earnings is taxable for OASDI. So, but we have to calculate how much is taxable for Paula. So here's the key number. First of all, we need to do a graph showing her previous year-to-date earnings prior to this. So I've created a graph in Excel, and here's a screenshot of it. So remember, we need to remember this number, 123,810. So that's what she made previous to this pay period and has already been taxed. So this blue right here, notice it says Paula's year-to-date earnings before this paycheck, 123,810. Now remember, this has already been taxed for OASDI, so this has already been taxed. And again, what is the wage base limit? It's 127,200. So I created this red line. So anything under this is taxable. Anything over this is not taxable. And then notice when we take her current pay period wages and add it to the prior, we're going to get 128,050. So that puts her over the wage base limit of 127,200. So we have to calculate how much of that is under the limit. Okay, so again, here we go. When we take her previous pay in blue plus this paycheck, which is in green, 4240, we have to tax the part of this paycheck that is under the limit, not the amount above. We don't care how much is above the limit because that is not taxable. We have to calculate how much is taxable. So to calculate how much is taxable, we're going to take this red line, 127,200, and subtract her prior pay period. In other words, we're trying to calculate the amount from her prior pay, right here, up to $127,200. So how do we do that? We're going to take $127,200, which shows right here, and subtract her prior amount that was taxed by OASDI, which is $123,810, which is this. So the amount that is taxable, in other words, from here to here, represented by this bracket, is $3,390. That is the amount taxable. The amount above we don't care about because that's not taxable for OASDI. So the number we need is 3,390. 3,390. Not the full 4,240 is taxable. It's the 3,390 that's taxable. So now we need to do the math. $3,390 times 0.062 gives us $210.18. Well done. So there is a way you can check your work. Down here, the OASDI tax has already been calculated, 210.18. So we double checked our answer is correct. But what we're really trying to figure out is how much of this 4240 was taxable. Now there is another way to back into that. What you can do is take the OASDI tax divided by the tax rate should give you the amount that is taxable, which was 3,390. So let's see if that works. Where's my calculator? So I'm going to take $210.18 let me clear this, 210.18 divided by the 6.2%, which is 0.062, should give us this 3390. And there you go. Now, due to rounding, it might not be exactly. So the more accurate way to do this is with the graph method. But either way should get you close. So that is how we calculate taxable OASDI for Paula, who went above the limit in December. And then we calculate her tax. So in the next video, we'll do the journal transactions.